All right, welcome to the 2024 BioTools Innovator Info Session. Happy New Year, everyone. This is our third info session of our series, the third and final one. We're going to start with some intros here. My name is Ari Marcelino. I'm the program manager at BioTools Innovator, and I'm joined by Jim West, the program director, also a former or BTI alum, I should say, for the 2021 cohort. And we can advance the slides here, Jim.
Yeah.
So thanks for joining us today. We're going to just go over the agenda next. So today we're going to cover an overview of who we are, where we came from, when we were founded, and then we're going to dive into the program overview, followed by more information about the application process. And then we want to leave a lot of time for everyone to be able to ask questions. So we'll have the AMA at the end. So feel free to start thinking about questions now because we'll open it up for a big group discussion.
So thanks everybody for coming today. It's a pleasure to be here. And today, this is our third info session. And what we want to do is kind of briefly give you an overview of the program, the application process, and the benefits, but really spend the time so that we can answer your questions as we're moving into the close of our application phase. And so what BioTools Innovator is we're a premier accelerator, helping companies like yours, life science tools, diagnostics, platforms, people are really building the tools and platforms of the next generation of medicine. And some of the things that you get that we bring together is a number of benefits. And so for me personally, I was in the first cohort of BioTools Innovator back in 2021. I had a company that made it through, and I got immense value from it. So it's a pleasure to be here on this side, being able to help companies like you. So some of the benefits is mentorship. By getting into the program, we have world-class strategics. We have really great investors who understand the space, and we have entrepreneurs who've been there and done that. So based on your needs and where you are in the stage of your company, we'll select and secure some great mentors for you. The other benefit is alumni. You guys will get to meet each other. It'll expand your network, expand opportunities, and share knowledge with not just people within your group, but over time with a larger network. And another benefit is the credibility. So being in the program, it puts you above the rest. In our program, we'll get to the numbers, but only about 5 to 6% of applicants make it into the program. So it's a pretty competitive program, and getting in says a lot about you guys. And the big tangible benefit, obviously, is the $300,000 that we're giving away in the program. And there's no cost to participate, and there's no equity given for these awards. So let's talk about BioTools, where we came from, and our parent organization is MedTech Innovator, and MedTech Innovator is going into its 11th year. They've had a great history of success with their programming, and as you can see here, have a lot of great metrics around the accelerator and the companies they've been able to help in the medical device medtech space. And some amazing statistics. 95% of companies that have made it through are still in business or have been acquired, and more than, I think at this point, $8 billion in follow-on equity funding among cohort companies that have made it through in the last 10 years. It's incredible. Now at BioTools Innovator, we're going into our fourth year, and we've had almost up to $100 million in follow-on funding, and we've given away $840,000 in equity-free money. 43 companies have made it through, and in this year, we're looking to increase the number of companies that we're allowing to participate. So our ecosystem, we're the subset up here in the top right. But these are some of the companies that actually, they pay money and sponsor the program to allow us to do what we do for you guys. In this case, we have some great sponsors from Broad Oak Venture Capital, RCT is a big one, Nissan Chemical, and Jabil. And Ara, we need to update the slide because we have a new one to announce that we haven't said yet, but we got a new sponsor coming in.
Nice. And I just want to quickly highlight
Yeah.
our founding partners, Broad Oak Capital and Research Corporation Technologies, which has been huge supporters of not only BioTools, but MedTech Innovator. And a few years ago, they decided to really double down on the BioTools space and help us launch the accelerator program.
Great. Thanks, Aaron. Now, beyond those people, these are a broader group of organizations that participate in our ecosystem, and these are people involved in reviewing, judging, mentoring, and other content that goes on with the program. But I think this is kind of it's a great list of interested companies in this ecosystem. And when I first saw this investor slide, it took me 3 years to figure out who the investors in this space were, and it ends up they're all here. So if you're interested in fundraising for your company, one thing we can guarantee is by applying to the program, whether you get in or not, whether you're invited to the pitch event or not, and whether you're ultimately accepted into the program or not, we guarantee these investors will be looking at your company, and they're participating because they want to see and find the next exciting coming companies.
And just one quick
yeah, go ahead, Ari.
To that, Jim. This group, this is a lot of our ecosystem that participates, but not everyone. We have a huge community that supports the full program and supports the cohort.
So we exist, again, to support the companies like you. And what you see there that's Paul Grand. He's the CEO and president of the MedTech Innovators. He's the founder of this program, and really the spearhead behind making all of this happen here today. So Ara, I'm going to let you take it from here.
So applications are open. Now's the time to get the applications in. And I wanted to point out that we have an early application phase deadline, January 15th. However, as soon as possible, earlier the better, because the reality is the earlier you get it in, the more eyes will be on your application. We have right now a lot of reviewers lined up, and we're in the process of allocating applications, assigning applications to reviewers. And so the earlier the better, because it'll increase the visibility. We'll get more potentially more validation on your company. So that kind of gives you a little edge, being able to get in as early as possible. The official final deadline is January 31st. So in terms of any costs, there's zero cost to apply or participate. There's a commitment of your time and some travel that we will discuss, moving forward if you do get selected into one of our pitch events that's part of the selection process, or the accelerator cohort. And I believe we'll probably point this out a few times, but there's no equity to participate as well. No equity required. And so we are looking at a wide range of tech, from different research instrumentation to diagnostics to different platforms that improve the production process, to discovery design tools. So it's a very wide range of different areas that we'll kind of dive deeper on in some future slides. And so here gives you a little bit more of our strategic interest area, and it kind of shows the volume of applications that we get in through certain areas. We have a lot of discovery tools, as you can see, different diagnostic platforms and tools. A couple areas that are starting to grow, as you know, the cell and gene therapy space is just has been growing over the years. So we're seeing a lot more technologies in that area, as well as some proteomics, multiomics, a lot of new, exciting, cutting edge tools and platform tech and diagnostics are emerging. And what's fun about our job is that we get to really to see all these trends emerge as the applications flow in. And so we're looking forward to reviewing, your specific area. And so this kind of gives you that snapshot of most of the areas that we're interested in.
Thanks, Aaron. If I could add here, I think what we want to do is this is historically the categories that companies have self-identified of their sort of areas, but this is by no means an encapsulation of our interest or categories. It's just to give you a guide of where people have been before. But if you're outside of this, it doesn't necessarily mean you're not a fit for the program. And there's a question coming in we can take now. So what do the asterisks represent? The asterisks represent the fact that we actually changed our reporting metrics since we started. And so we had to sort of change some of the categories that were self-represented to match our current lineup. So we just moved things around a little bit based on a logical assignment. It just means that they've been modified a little bit.
And another question that came in about the two other groups, those are just other areas that are not specifically aligned with the interest areas that you see. So just a miscellaneous mix of other areas. So we're open to a lot of diverse areas of technologies that fit under tools and enabling technologies and diagnostics.
Yeah. Yeah, and thanks, Ari. And just to clarify there, yes, two others. We should probably fix that and combine those together, but they do represent different subcategorizations, and I understand the confusion there. Thank you.
I didn't even notice there were two others. Good call. So we can continue. And then also, just since we're talking more about the application side, we had another question about confidentiality. Please don't submit any confidential or proprietary materials for the application process. We actually have a screening phase where we look for any decks, any documentation that is marked confidential, and we'll kick it back to you during that pre-screening application process, so you can correct it, get rid of anything that could be confidential or label confidential. And we're not going to allocate any applications to reviewers if there are confidential materials. So just in the application, keep all the confidential stuff out of it.
Yeah, Ari, if we're going to take that question, though, I think we need to. So to fully answer the question that I see here about confidentiality, the question is in terms of proprietary sales pricing, other product information in the market that they don't want to share. And so none of our participants in the ecosystem sign non-disclosure agreements with us or you at this stage. So it is a fully, that there should be no confidential information presented or disclosed during the pitch event process. And so if you're in a position where some of your information is confidential, you're being asked for it, you can simply say that's confidential information. I cannot share that at this time, and that's usually a sufficient answer. But from your perspective, don't share confidential information with us during the pitch events or any other time, because we're not able to protect that.
Thanks, Jim. So what are we looking for? We're looking for companies that are incorporated at the time of the program starts. So if you get selected, invited into the accelerator program, you have to be incorporated by that time. So during the application phase, you don't need to. In terms of phase of fundraising, anywhere from angel all the way to 10 million raised. So it can be a smaller B round as long as you're not beyond that 10 million raised. And we want to make sure you have a sufficient runway to execute your current milestones. That's also another really important requirement. And we want to make sure that you also have some type of proof of concept, prototype, fleshed out, and in terms of the commitment, so for the road tour, which is we'll get deeper into that, you're required to attend one pitch event. For the international applicants that take part in the road tour, there is a virtual pitch event that we'll discuss, but you're required to attend one pitch event, the summit that we'll also discuss, and the capstone event, which is the final event. If you, the summit and the capstone event is part of the accelerator. And companies that are accepted in the program need to dedicate either one of the, co-founder, CEO, somebody from the executive team to take the lead on the program. And we encourage other people, other colleagues, part of the team to also participate and attend the events. We just want one person on the senior team to really run the show.
So this is a historic slide showing companies that have been through the accelerator. We just wanted to give you this for a sense of stage and types of companies. And so if you look at the x-axis here, we have sort of the funding stage of companies, and we go all the way from pre-seed funding. Maybe they've just got some grants or some other things. And we've had up to $20 million in equity funding. At this stage, we, around the $10 million in equity fundraise is our cutoff. It's not a hard cutoff, so if you're around that, it's fine. But we do want to kind of support companies earlier in the development stage. And so this means up to Series A, sometimes Series B, depending on the type of company and how much you've been raising. But we have a great range of companies, and the first year a pre-seed company won, and then this year I believe a company raising their Series A won. So it's a wide gamut, and everybody has a chance. So you might recognize some of the names here. Ari, do you want to talk about the time?
Yeah, now we're going to go into the program timeline phase by phase. So as we mentioned, the application phase, the final deadline is January 31st. However, we have the early application phase that is kicking off now. So get your applications in before the 15th, as we mentioned, for the early application phase. Then we move into the road tour, which is a 3-event series that we're going to first kick off on the East Coast. We'll be in Boston on March 21st. Then we'll go to the West Coast on April 11th in sunny San Diego. And then the virtual event will take place on the 24th of April. So as I mentioned, the virtual event is primarily for our international applicants. We're a global accelerator. You can be anywhere. And so we have that opportunity for the international applicants to participate in the virtual event. We try, in terms of assignment, if you do get invited, we try to assign you based on your home base, your HQ. So in your application, when you mark your location, it's really important that it's accurate, your home base, and not just a PO box. So if you're on the East Coast or West Coast, please have that accurate information, and then we can align you properly, and we can try to make some adjustments if needed. But you'll get a heads up at least 3 weeks before the event. So we'll get more into the road tour next in greater depths. And then the Innovator Summit takes place June 12th through the 13th in Mountain View at the Computer History Museum. We'll also get in that in greater detail. And then the Innovator Summit, from there, that's kind of the kickoff to get to start the accelerator program, which is virtual, that runs June through about mid-October. And then we finish it off at the capstone event, which will be in October, to be determined location. And we'll also get more into the details of that as well. So the road tour, this is highlights of the 2023 road tour. We had over 74 judges participate. As we mentioned, these judges are industry executives that are serial entrepreneurs that have founded multiple companies that want to give back. There's a lot of investors that are looking for the next company to invest in. There are different large biotech, large pharma strategics that take place that participate. And this is not a traditional pitch event or demo day. This is a very immersive event, a full day event where you're interacting with a large group of these judges. They break, as you can see on the right side, that was our Maryland event in 2023. They break off into groups. And so this is also a really good force function to pitch to multiple rounds of panels of judges. And this type of setting creates a very intimate setting where you can not only get feedback from the judges in a casual way, real time, but also it gives that opportunity to really have conversations. There's a mixed group, as I mentioned, of a technical crowd, people that might talk more about business strategy, but be prepared to answer really any questions, because it's a fun day of a lot of pitches. And what's also unique about this is you get anonymous feedback post event. So the judges, as you can see, have tablets that they're completing different notes, taking notes throughout the sessions. And so this itself, I feel like, is almost part of the accelerator. It's not, though, but it's such a good exercise, a good learning experience. You get a lot of really good feedback, but it's also a really good mechanism to connect with our ecosystem. So whether you move on to accelerator or not, it's an amazing opportunity to meet people, to learn, to get feedback. On the left there is our San Francisco event. And so in terms of the acceptance rate to get into the accelerator from this phase, from the road tour, it's about 6% acceptance rate getting into the accelerator. So from here, from the pitch event, we take all that feedback. So we aggregate that feedback. We talk to all those judges that are giving, that are taking those notes, giving feedback to us internally, but also externally, as you mentioned, to the attendees of the pitch event. And we'll meet and select the companies that will be part of the cohort. We're looking at around 20 to 30 companies that will be in the cohort this year. Last year we had 19. The year before we had 13. Year before that, in 2021, I think we had about 11. So we're starting to grow, but about 20 to 30 is the number that we're looking at. So kicking off the accelerator, we're at the Computer History Museum, and this is a unique event as well because it combines the BioTools ecosystem and MedTech into one big summit. And there's going to be a lot of different breakout sessions that are specific to BioTools, Our mentors will be there. Our whole ecosystem, our community will be there to run different workshops. There will be different panel discussions and talks. It's a very interactive event, and the cohort is participating, throughout that whole event. And you get a chance to meet mentors, meet other people in our ecosystem, and really this really sets the stage as we start formulating short-term goals for your experience. Anything else you'd like to add there, Jim?
Yeah, no, I think it's a great program. It's a great opportunity to network and meet and connect. And I'm looking forward to going this year.
So now we're going to go a little bit further into the accelerator program. So the core of our program is the mentorship, and we take our time to curate mentors that are going to be a good fit for you and the company based on a lot of different variables. We'll pair you up with at least one, possibly two or three mentors that will, like I said, we'll build some short-term goals together. This is not a cookie cutter program. We'll look at some of your challenges, some of your goals, what you need to refine, and we'll put together that game plan. And the mentors will help not only guide you and mentor you throughout the program. Some end up working beyond the program because the program's only 4 months, but a lot build on the relationships and end up working together or mentoring beyond that period. And the cadence of the mentorship is very flexible. It's up to you and the mentor to really develop that cadence. We know you're running a company, and so you don't have the full day to dedicate to a mentorship, but you'll work on a schedule that is flexible, that works with you and the mentor. And the webinar series is driven by the cohort. So in the beginning of the cohort accelerator program, we will essentially survey the cohort, and we'll get a lot of different topics they want to cover, a lot of questions. And so every panel that we build out will bring in really quality panelists. And what we'll do is basically build out a content guide, a moderation guide that will address all the questions, all the topics that you want to cover. And then that's about an hour session. And then you'll have 30 minutes, which will be a closed session that's private. We do stream this first part on LinkedIn Live and YouTube, but the last 30 minutes is really dedicated to you to be able to ask some questions that are more private, or it's just that time that you have to get to know the judges, ask them questions. And again, this is another mechanism to connect with the judges and see how you can collaborate as well. And so we're not only an accelerator program, we integrate a competition that gives out non-dilutive funding up to $300,000 in cash prizes. And so the capstone event is where the competition is highlighted. And it's kind of interesting, our background. When MedTech Innovator was founded, it used to be called MedTech Idol. And so they had a live voting structure at the event. So this is a really fun way to determine the winners of not only the grand prize, which is $250,000, but during the accelerator, we have a video competition, a 1-minute video, which we can also talk about as well. So there's prizes for that. There's finalist prizes. And so at this event, we're highlighting the whole cohort. We're showcasing the cohort. They get an opportunity to pitch at the capstone event, where there's hundreds of people that attend. In 2023, and the last few years, we had it co-located with the Cell and Gene meeting on the Mesa in Carlsbad, California. And so this is an event where we celebrate the cohort. We vote live. So we usually have about 4 to 5 finalists. And from there, we let the audience decide. And the audience is all of the people that have been part of the program that know these companies, and they're there to vote. So it's a really fun, opportunity to again get more connections, catch up with the cohort, and really get more visibility across this whole program and capstone event.
All right. Well, we're done with the overview of the program. Thanks, Ari. So now we're just going to close this out, open it up for questions. Signing up is really easy. You just go to our website, create an account, and you can start. Some of the we'll get to some of the questions, but the process for creating an application for BioTools Innovator or MedTech Innovator are the same. The timelines are the same. The applications are slightly different, but you get to them through the same portal. So if you want to fill out two, you create an account, you can go create 2 applications if you need to. So we'll leave this up for a little bit and we'll start taking some questions. So
yeah, and one thing I wanted to add to the application process, it's first of all, it's we know you're running a business and there's a lot going on, but it's a pretty short application process. It's a lot of basic information that you build on. You get into your value prop, any validation or partnerships, and you can also add people to the application, add team members. So if you want team members to collaborate, there's an add employee button there. If you have any questions, about the application process, feel free to reach out to me. And yeah, we can go ahead with the Q&A.
Great, thanks, Ari. So the first question I'm going to take is MedTech Innovator structured similar to BioTools? So we're related. We have the same parent organization. We are very similar. The MedTech Innovator is focused on the medical device world, and we're focused on the BioTools world. We do have a little bit of overlap between some of our partners and companies, but in general, they're managed independently. And there are differences between the programs. So you probably want to think about where you're the best fit, but yeah, we're related but different. Ari, do you want to talk about any numbers from the last competition? Like how many applicants we had, road tours, what kind of what those numbers look like?
Yes, sure. So in 2023, we had over 350 applicants, and right now we're trending to exceed that. In terms of how many were invited to the road tour, I don't have that number offhand. I believe there was, I think about 67 companies were invited. But I can confirm that. And how many invited to the Innovator Summit? That's okay. 67. I was way off. 37. That's about 10% of the. And how many invited were invited to the Innovator Summit? So that the Innovator Summit is our cohort. So whoever is selected into the cohort will participate in the Innovator Summit along with our full ecosystem, as we call it. So we'll have hundreds of people that participate across MedTech and BioTools Innovator at the summit.
Yeah, and last year there were 19 cohort companies. This year, I believe we're going to be taking up to 25, depending on the quality applicants. And then the last one here is how many $300,000 investments made. So we give away a total of $300,000. There's a grand prize given of $250,000 to the winning company, and the other cash is dispersed among smaller prizes. So the next question I have is software heavy companies, non-AI, non-IT, but selling to clinical, non-FDA markets in fertility medicine, which is more appropriate, BioTools, MedTech, or perhaps both. That would probably be a good one to have a chat with us offline about. It could go either way, and that's a kind of a complicated one without the regulatory. And so I don't have an answer. It might be both, but feel free to follow up offline for a better answer. Ari, do you want to talk about this one? Does the founder have to attend all in-person events, or can other people on the team attend for them if they can't make it?
Yeah, so we understand that things come up. You are able to have another member of your executive team participate in any of the events. I mean, we highly suggest that you have a founder, CEO attend the pitch event in the summit. But if for some reason there's a conflict, as long as there's another senior executive member of the team that can attend, that is acceptable as well.
How extensive is the review feedback a startup receives? You want to take that, Ari?
Yeah, so I guess I'm not sure the exact context. I could start with feedback from the road tour. That is based on not only the real-time feedback that you get during the pitch rounds, but also what is submitted. And like I said, you do get a copy of the anonymous feedback. So that's because it's anonymous, they can keep it as real as they want to. And so it's really good to get unbiased look into the company. In terms of the application feedback, right now we don't give feedback to everyone, all of the applicants. If you reach out, we'll try our best to look at the reviewer feedback and give you some of that information, but we cannot promise to be able to give every applicant feedback from their application.
Thanks, Ari. Next one, we are developing a cervical cancer point of care diagnostic kit that involves a self-sample collection device and a rapid molecular diagnostic test for instrument-free diagnosis. Which program is more suited for us, MedTech Innovator or BioTools Innovator? So this could again go either way. Both MedTech Innovator and BioTools Innovator support diagnostics, and so we do kind of focus more on molecular diagnostics here at BioTools Innovator, but looking towards a self-use collection kit and the diagnostic, it could really go either way. So I would probably encourage you in that case to apply to both programs, and then we can share that internally with everybody.
And we'll be screening the applications, obviously. So if someone applies to MedTech or BioTools and it's a better fit for one of the programs, we'll move that and notify you of that movement. Some also, like Jim mentioned, apply to both, and they could potentially get considered for both.
Next question. Given the FDA's evolving regulations on tools, how do you approach companies building software that may soon fall under device regulations? That's a great question. I used to be a regulatory consultant years ago, but I haven't kept up, so I'm not exactly sure the context behind the FDA and this question. Although I don't think it will really impact our side of how we're operating. So we're still looking at supporting tools companies. If they do happen to start becoming regulated, whether they need to have a device master file on record with the FDA or some other collaboration with the company they're selling their products to, I don't see that changing for us.
And the key word is evolving. So a lot of it we don't know yet, and that's why we try to really stay close with FDA, get them involved in some parts of the program, get updates, because this space is moving so fast, and we want to stay on the pulse of new regulatory requirements, for especially for tools. So it's definitely a big question that we can kind of cross that bridge when we get there. But again, if it falls under, if it needs to go through regulatory studies currently, then it most it's going to be a fit for most likely the MedTech Innovator program.
Great. And let's see. I wanted to clarify the answers there. Ayelet, our program director, the Innovator program director, is providing some additional information. So she said, in terms of the software, this should apply to both. It depends on where our partners would suit them better. We can make that decision internally. And we can also adjust our contents and experts as needed as this field is evolving for them.
Hey, Jim, I think I'm able to jump in now. Sorry, I had some issue here.
Nice.
Yeah, hi. So it's a really good question regarding regulation. Every field, as you know, in healthcare is evolving. If you look at diagnostics and what's been happening in the past years, and what's been happening with the regulation. So things change, and the purview of what FDA regulates or how is it regulated might change periodically, and that's okay. The important thing is, as long as this is a life science tool, a research tool that is under the areas of interest that Jim had shown earlier in the presentation, this will likely remain under the BioTools program. What will change is the support that we're giving the companies in the program, meaning if there is a need to bring in expertise that are related to a new requirement to the tools that you're developing, that is something that will happen during the program. So we're keeping our finger on the pulse, both in terms of diagnostics and in other areas of life science tools. But for diagnostics specifically, I think, Jim gave the best advice that I would have given as well. In that case, if it's not a medical device, clearly, if it is a diagnostic, molecular diagnostic, point of care, you can apply to both. In some cases, again, rule of thumb, really rough, but rule of thumb, if it's a diagnostics for a specific indication or, for example, an ultrasound-based diagnostics, something like that, most likely medtech. If it's a platform that is used for diagnostic and can be used for multiple indications, or if it's a new technology used for diagnostics. For example, if you have biosensors that are used for diagnostics, and even if you're developing it now for a specific application as your first use case, but the idea is that this is a platform that will be used for multiple things later, then I would strongly advise applying to both programs. This will most likely fall under the BioTools program. Apply to both. We will let you know where your best fit is. The reason we're doing this is that we want to give this exposure to partners on both sides. And wherever we feel you may get the best support, that is where we would eventually place you. And in some cases, you could compete for both. You can't be selected for both, but you could compete for a spot in both programs. So that was my little addition. I hope that's helpful.
Thank you. This is our AI bot that just joined us. Thank that. So we'll keep rolling with questions, but yeah, think of medtech as the regulated products, healthcare dealing with the payers and reimbursement, but we can, again, give you any clarity that you need. Feel free to reach out to us.
Thanks,
So
guys.
let's keep moving, with some of these questions. Thanks for all the questions here.
So is incorporation required by the road tour or by the program kickoff? And I think the answer would be there by the program kickoff.
It's
so you'll
when the accelerator kicks off. So it's not required for the road tour, which is not a part of the actual accelerator program.
Thanks, sorry. So these are some easier, fun questions, I guess. So any high-level advice on the criteria applications that are judged on, market potential, team, et cetera, et cetera. And so let's clarify here kind of how the reviewing process works. So we have this early application deadline of January 15th. And we have the reason we have that is because we have a goal to get multiple reviewers on each application. So we don't have just one person reviewing an application. We have a cohort of judges and reviewers that are looking at these things. And so the earlier we can get them started, the more eyes you can get on your applications. And what we're looking for is for them to look at these applications and say, yes, we want to promote them to the pitch event. So the more people you get, the more opportunities you get to get those yeses. And so we can't really tell you it's on the team or the market or whatever. Each judge brings their own perspective, but the criteria is all these things. You know, it's the whole package. It's the problem you're solving. It's the market. It's the team. So each judge is going to be different, but the earlier you get your applications in, the more opportunities you're going to get those yeses. Do you
So
have
I'll
anything
move
to add,
on to
Ari?
one. No, that. So there's a question that came in. In addition to mentor and investor contacts, did you also observe strategic partnerships discussions having been initiated out of the past programs? So this is the fun part that we get to see all the time throughout the year is those opportunities that emerge. And so in our ecosystem, we have the Thermos, the Agilents, the Danahers, the Jables, the Lanzas of the world that are looking at new technology to partner with. So there's a lot of ongoing discussions that happen, whether they meet at a panel and they reach out after the panel, or they just see the cohort highlighted on LinkedIn or at one of our events or our pitch events. There's a lot of opportunities to connect with strategic partners, large biotech and pharma.
Thanks, Ari. Are BioTools and MedTech the same program? We're a microbial color company growing the future of sustainable colorants for a wide range of applications using biomanufacturing. We're not directly related to the medical field. Would this be applicable for your program? I don't know if I fully understand the application of the company, but it would probably be more of a fit for BioTools Innovator. But again, for more details, I'd probably suggest for that reaching out to us independently. We can follow up one-on-one. And then the last question we have right now is it too early to apply if the company does not have a proof of concept? That's a tough question. I think that broadly the answer would be yes. Without a proof of concept, it's probably too early. So we're kind of looking for things to be spun out of the lab. But, proof of concept means a lot of different things. And so it may. Ari, do you want to
And
add?
I can add to that. Yeah, it's go ahead and apply because it might be too early to be considered to get into the accelerator, but we would like to really have you on our radar. You might progress, at the point of having more development soon enough, and so we could always connect with you and just consider you for future cycles. But we're definitely open. But again, we would like to see some type of prototype or proof of concept. But we'd love to get the application in, and we can always connect further to see how we can support you.
All right. Well, that's There's no more questions. Thank you all for coming. It's been a pleasure hosting you today. I hope this has been informative. We do encourage you to apply by our January 15th date, but the final deadline is January 31st if you're able to get that in. So, last question here, can we get a copy of the slides? If you've registered for the webinar, you will be sent a recording of the presentation, so you can review it that way. If you would like a copy of the slides, reach out to us and we'll be happy to send those, but you'll get a copy of the video here. So thank you, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.
Thank you all. Look forward to reviewing your application soon. Happy New Year.